Hey everyone, welcome to Daily Revelations. Being strong. I'm not talking about these, but I am talking about spiritual strength and just what God asks of us to hold on, because being strong in your faith leads to the end for us to be wise, which doesn't make sense. We think wisdom comes with understanding. But God says He's beyond figuring out. So if we pursue being smarter, understanding God, doing all these things that help us gain knowledge, they go in our heads, but they don't get played out in our lives. If you've ever done any kind of sport or any kind of exercise, you know that the more you do it, the more you repeat it, the easier it becomes. And faith is the same way. And that is how God also builds wisdom in our lives. And that's what we're going to talk about, is gaining wisdom over, and unfortunately, the way God pairs wisdom with the opposite is wickedness. That's something we don't want to go down that road with. But the problem is if we're not wise, we inadvertently choose to be wicked. And that's unfortunately the path that many take, because it's the easy path. It's the one that doesn't require strength building in your faith. It just requires following everyone else and going with that. So what am I talking about? Okay, we're going to dive into the last chapter of Daniel today. So Daniel is continuing. It's just a continuation of the vision that he had from Daniel 11, which I talked about yesterday, and talked about encouragement. And we do need to be encouraged, because who wants to be hanging there and saying, I can't hold on any longer? We need somebody to say, yes, you can. I'm holding on too. Because that encourages us to just keep going. So, but in Daniel 12, it says this: many of those who sleep in the dust and the ground will awake, these to everlasting life, but the others to disgrace and everlasting contempt. Okay, which party do you want to be in? The everlasting life one, please. That's where I want to be. But how do we get there? Well, it says those who have insight will shine brightly, like the brightness of the expanse of the heaven. That sounds awesome. And those who lead many to righteousness, like the stars forever and ever. So the two things that wisdom will lead you to is having insight, being wise, which that word, when I looked it up in the Hebrew, meant a continual things that you do that cause an action of knowing why and then acting on it. The strength building, the faith living out. That is what gets you to that point. And then the turning many to righteousness is actually one word in Hebrew, and it means one who lives an abundant life. An abundant life, not on the earth, but an abundant life in what God works out and provides because of our faithfulness. Those are the two determinations of, are you wise or are you wicked? Are you choosing to hold on, to be strengthened, and to allow God's abundance to come through His provision, not your own? Or are you following the path that everyone else in the world is taking to gain and grab and do all these other things, which still is a lot of work. Unfortunately, it's not the work that God is doing. It's what you are doing to try to make up for what you think God should be doing. That's the hard part. And then at the very end, it says, many will be purged. And that word can also be translated purified. And refined, but the wicked will act wickedly, and none of the wicked will understand. They'll just keep going their own way. But those who have insight, again, those who have wisdom, that's back to that word about those that know and then act, they will understand. They will see beyond the trickery of the world and how it's trying to pull them down, and not hold on and be strengthened. And it's real easy to slide into that because strength training hurts. When you are working out your muscles, you're actually ripping them, you're tearing them, and then you're causing them to repair. When we act in faith, God kind of rips what we hold on to in this world away. And he builds up in that place something stronger of himself. And so the more we hold on in faith, the stronger that faith muscle becomes. And we are able to trust God in more things. And I have to tell you, this has become super personal in this last day because God did two amazing things yesterday that I can take no credit for. And I was praying this morning, I'm like, God, I've been holding on, trying to figure out, how to do this, but I've trusted that the timing wasn't right. This wasn't exactly what you wanted. And so here are these answers, and I can take no credit for them because you just kind of threw them at me. So that's just how God works. And he doesn't ask me to be super smart. He doesn't ask me to figure all this out. He just says, just hold on. Allow me to strengthen you. Allow me to stretch you. Allow me to pull those things out of your life that shouldn't be there, that you're trusting in, and that would cause you to go down that path of wickedness. Instead, just keep tight. Allow those people around you to encourage you. Seek me. And you will follow this path of the wise. And you'll be strengthened, and you'll have an eternal blessing in that, which again, it says that we will shine like stars in heaven, and we will have that everlasting life that he promises us because we've held on and nothing more. We've held on in faith. So I just encourage you, hold on tight, trust in God. He's got this. So thanks for joining me on Daily Revelations. I'll see you again next time. Bye, everybody.